I really hate to say it, but it seems like the writing is on the wall and AI could easily be the next GPU mining shortage crisis. I really hope it doesn't happen, but it could. But in other news of GPUs and tech, AMD and Intel are gearing up to release new graphics cards really soon. But before we get into it, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor. If you're anything like this, Microsoft is coming to get you and wants to charge $200 for Windows 11. That's why our only hope is SCDKEY. With them, you can get Windows 10 Pro for a low price and upgrade it for free to Windows 11. Once you get to checkout, make sure to use code VEX for an extra 25% off of this already great deal, and just choose your preferred payment method and you will be emailed your code. Working with SCDKEYs, all of their codes have come from OEM manufacturers and they're completely safe, so no need to worry about that. Again, huge thanks to today's sponsor. Make sure to use code VEX. Let's get back into it. Jay made a very interesting video. This might be the worst news for gamers. And to kind of summarize the video, you guys should really watch this whole thing. AI might be the next mining like GPU shortage epidemic, whatever you want to call it, where we can't get our hands on GPUs. He's not wrong about this. If AI really becomes all that, and if Nvidia's focusing on their AI chips that cost like $20,000, like small time people can't afford this. How can they get that on like a consumer level? That's with graphics cards. So eventually AI is going to trickle down and we're probably going to have a shortage of gaming graphics cards. I can't be too mad at the companies for chasing the money because you're a company. Does that mean 6000 series AMD cards are going to cost less? These are selling out. There's only 5 models available for the 6800 XT, and this was kind of like one of the mainstream cards. He brings up some really good points, and this isn't buying advice. It isn't anything like that. It's just like a warning. If you are planning on upgrading your GPU like decently soon, you might want to look into getting one. I'm not saying there's good deals out there right now or anything, but it might get worse. Onto Intel Arc news. Arc A580, so another Alchemist card from Intel. Seems like a decent card. It really depends on how much it's going to cost. We've seen some linked benchmarks from Geekbench. It seems like Geekbench is always the freaking thing that leaks. Am I crazy? The Arc A580, it did beat out the RTX 3050, which scored between 75K and 80K, and the Arc A580 scored 82992, so it's technically faster, and it seems to be, it might be just a little bit behind an Arc A750, which you can get A750s for $220, and we've seen them go as low as 180. It only has 6 gigabytes of VRAM. I'm kind of expecting like a $150 card then. I think this is what Intel needs to do though. Release these entry-level cards, just that more mainstream appeal, and try to build up some market share, because people don't really care about the really high-end stuff. Why would you invest so much money into a new graphics card? Introducing a Starfield 7900 XTX. Don't know how much this is going to cost. They're releasing a themed CPU, which will sit under your cooler for the entire life. Why exactly that one is themed, but the GPU looks kind of cool. AMD did an announcement video. Little logos here. I like the white red color scheme. It looks nice, but I'm not feeling this. I don't know about you guys. It doesn't match anything. I don't know why they did it. Looks like a Noctua. You ain't wrong. And look, they didn't even show this in the advertisement. It's just the box. Apparently they're giving away a few of them, and apparently online users can also participate in the giveaway. There are only 500 units of the graphics card made to date, so you have to be really lucky to get one. But talking about the design, it's one of a kind solution. This is going to be a collector's item, obviously, as all of these like collaboration cards are. Some dude's going to resell it for $3,000. You're not even wrong. Small little update with the 7900 GRE. Has 80 compute units, so you lose 4 compute units on that from the XT version. You lose 4 gigabytes of VRAM, cut down bus width so you get slower memory. But it's supposed to go for $650. But the 7900 XT goes for like $700 consistently now, because that card was way overpriced. The GRE isn't really that exciting, but some people in Germany apparently can buy this in system integrators. Everywhere but China, you cannot buy this graphics card on shelves. It's only sold in system integrators. What my thought process is they needed to get rid of 7900 XTs or something like that, or they had too many chips made for it, so they cut it down and then made it cheaper. You guys may have heard about the 7800 XT and 7700 XT, which are releasing pretty soon. Power Color did leak this accidentally. I have no clue how they just did that. Significantly cut down from the 7900 XT. Like a quarter of the core is just gone, bruh. The 7800 XT has less compute units than the 6800 XT, and that's supposed to be replacing it. I'm not excited about this card at all. It seems like another AMD moment, but it really does depend on the price. 6800 XTs, yes, they're getting sold out at this moment, but you can still get them for about $530, $520, somewhere in there. It would have to cost less than it to be exciting, and I don't think it's gonna cost less than that. With other graphics card stuff, Zephyr is a new AIB company. They unveiled the RTX 3060 GPU featuring a pink PCB. If you guys are into pink, you know, you're only a real man if you can handle pink. So Zephyr has released multiple models of a 3070 and 3080, but generally speaking, they're pretty new. And this is what this card looks like. They're releasing 4070s and 4080s, but companies like Zephyr here, I think, are starting to innovate in the space. I want to see more companies taking risks.
These are RX 7600 themed like a game we didn't know existed until we saw these video cards. Ever since we saw the Yeston.
So Yeston has been taking risks. Sapphire is like one of AMD's like top AIBs, and they're releasing a kind of weird looking card, kind of different. Some people might like this. I think this is very geared towards kids, especially with it being like a cheaper graphics card. It can play at like 1080p pretty well. Catherine says, I might get a Yeston card with the anime. Well, speaking of AIB cards with anime on them, but Asus, a company that is usually kind of seen as taking pretty safe moves with their design and stuff, they've also released GPUs that have interesting designs. And yet, I don't really watch Demon Slayer, I don't really watch anime in general, but what's interesting is that Asus has also taken the anime girl route. Yeston isn't the only one. Well, not on the back plate. I guess they're not taking it to that level yet, but they might. So this is going to be exclusive for the Chinese market. It's not blowing me away. It's not amazing. Some people, I guess, will just walk in and buy it because of the girl on the shelf that has little cat ears on it. It's interesting to see companies taking more risks like this. AM4 5800X3D, very fast CPU for gaming, $270 right now. And 7800 XTs are 15% below MSRP, I'm pretty sure. And they come with Starfield right now. I'm kind of considering getting a 5800 XT so I can test things properly. But yes, you can find these on B&H Photo, the 5800 X3D. It seems like they're selling out at this price. I made some PCs on PC Part Picker. That's crazy. Making PCs on PC Part Picker. If you were to buy an AM4 build right now, what would it cost compared to an AM5 build? Because prices have kind of changed. It used to be that DDR5 and motherboards were insanely expensive to go to AM5. So if you get a 5800 X3 for $270 and you can get a B550 motherboard, it's only 65 bucks for 32 gigabytes of fast memory. Total for AM4 kind of comes out to like 465 bucks. So if you go to AM5, ooh baby, it's still like $700, but it seems to be in the range of about 20% faster. And if you were to go to the actual build, you're paying way more than 20% to get that performance. You're paying actually close to like 40 to 50%. But if you are building a new system right now, probably recommend going to AM5 because it's gonna last you years and years down the line. It's hard pill to swallow right now, but I would stretch the budget to go to AM5. With CPUs though, Raptorlake refresh is coming around, and I think it's supposed to release somewhere at the end of this quarter, midway through this quarter. And there was some leaked benchmarks of the 14600KF, so an i5 processor. Now it's 5% on single core. That's literally just because of clock speed. It's the same architecture. They're going to release some tiers that have different amounts of cores, different efficiency cores and performance cores. It's supposed to draw the same amount of power. Power consumption, man, maybe need a stronger PSU. I think only for the top tier chip. Apparently this i5 will draw this about the same amount of power. We'll see if it drives down the price of 13th gen. I still think 13th gen is a little bit too expensive. Also, for gaming news. So Baldur's Gate 3 on PC is kind of giving at least a lot of people a different way to view new like AAA games that are coming out. AAA games have been very much money farming games for a while, and they'd come out broken at launch, incomplete features, want you to pay for DLC and stuff. But when you look about how Baldur's Gate 3 is doing, it is the second most played game in the world right now. All-time peak is 800,000 people, and 24-hour peak is 634,000 people. It doesn't really look like it's slowing down a whole lot. Once it hits the weekend again, this number might jump up. It really gives some hope that you can be a developer, just cares about the game and cares about players and making a full, complete experience at launch that isn't broken. This actually works. You don't need to rush a game out the door and stuff like that. People are loving the game. I think it's like a role-playing Dungeons and Dragons type game where you can kind of do whatever you want and build your own story. It's not really my type of game, but I'm glad that games like this are still being made. On the flip side, I don't know if you guys ever pay attention to Overwatch 2. This looks kind of weird, right? Overwatch 2 is on Steam, and this is probably because they just launched their invasion stuff. So this is like a campaign kind of that you have to pay extra for. Unlike Baldur's Gate 3, Overwatch 2, mostly negative reviews, and it's only been a freaking day. Oh God. Oh God. This is how you mess up and lose players' trust. The only problem is people are still going to buy it. People are still going to play it, and it will be interesting on Steam. We'll actually be able to see with like Steam Tracker and stuff how popular is Overwatch 2 actually when they treat players like this, since they went free to play and they just really want to be a money farming game. Ratchet and Clank on PC did also finally add ray tracing to AMD GPUs. Nixxes, the developers who did the port to PC, have been pretty good with their ports. I genuinely don't think that they had enough time for this one, especially because it's a port. It was already 2 years later than the actual game release on PS5. I don't really know why they needed to rush it out on PC. I would have rather waited a month to have it in the state that they wanted it to be in. Basically, the last little thing got to talk about is freaking SSDs are so cheap these days. 1 terabyte on an NVMe drive. This probably isn't the fastest one. Probably doesn't have cache on it. I didn't do that much research into it. For $34. That is so cheap. This one in particular might be fine to pick up, but there's probably tons of other deals out there. You can get 2 terabytes Gen 4 drives from Samsung. The 980 Pros, the one that I have, actually the 2 terabyte one that I have, for like $90. Highly recommend if you want to upgrade your storage and you want it to be fast, and if you have NVMe slots on your board available, freaking use them. They are very cheap right now. If you're still on a hard drive, you will notice this big time. If you have a SATA SSD, you may or may not notice this. Well, that's pretty much it for all the news I wanted to catch you guys up on. We did see some interesting stuff, also some pretty scary stuff, some pretty scary GPU news. I hope that AI doesn't turn into the next GPU mining boom where every miner buying all of the GPUs, taking them basically away from gamers. AI could easily become the same thing, and it might be happening right before our eyes. And this is just kind of a cautionary message just to keep your eye out for it, and hope it doesn't go down that road. But other than that, keep your eye out for ARC's A580 graphics card that might be coming around pretty soon, as well as AMD's new GPUs that are coming way sooner than you might expect at this current moment. Also, there's a new Starfield themed GPU that looks pretty dope if you're interested in something like that. Obviously, it's going to be expensive. There's only 500 of them out there. But in other graphics card design news, Asus is doing a anime card as well, not with the waifu on it, but the waifu on the box. And Zephyr is another company that is based in China that is going to offer some interesting looking designs. And here's Roxy coming to join for the outro here. Also, if you're looking for a boost in gaming CPU performance, the 5800 X3D is a great deal right now. So is the 7800 X3D, which comes with Starfield as well. The CPU market is looking great, while the GPU market is looking kind of bad. In gaming news, Baldur's Gate 3 is absolutely killing it, while Overwatch 2 is getting some of the worst hate in gaming history. People do not like Overwatch, but it's cool to see games like Baldur's Gate 3 that can really show us that games like that still exist and can work in this climate. And as well, just like the CPU deals, if you're interested in more storage, especially NVMe storage, it is very cheap right now. A terabyte for $34. Anyways though, that's been it for me. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out.